What's up? I'm back. This is gonna be a short segment. Talk about the elections that just happened yesterday. I would say, for the most part, Democrats got their ass kicked. And when I begin this, I am not a Democrat or Republican. I consider myself independent. I think a lot of times when it comes to politics, the typical answer that I know my audience, which is really more a combination of probably people who are studying spiritual metaphysics, people who are interested in health, obviously in this channel, and the newer leg, people who are into science fiction. Their natural inclination will be to say, "Oh, I don't watch politics. I don't care," and it's fine if you don't, but you should always know what's happening and why things are happening, because when you can basically decode not the politics is like a movie, it's a show, so like it's like when you go to a movie, you don't really you kind of know what's gonna happen when you go to a movie. The good guy's gonna win. You kind of know it's gonna be between 2 hours and 3 hours, and it's probably gonna be a love story in the movie. You kind of know that already, but it's fun to see it take place and to see what was the mechanisms behind the people who made the movie. This is why so many people, like there's a whole section of internet that just speculates on movies in the future and what they're gonna do. So in politics, a lot of times when you study it, not studying it the way the traditional person studies it, where they actually believe the hype, like they actually believe there's a difference between the Democrats and Republicans. The difference is marginal at best, to be honest, and neither of them is really evil or you do it right and wrong. You just deal with people who care about their own interests. To be honest, it's sometimes when you get into the emotional part of it, and this is the biggest thing in politics. Many people get too emotional. So when you study, even if you say I don't care about it, a lot of times people don't care about it because they don't really want to really take the time out to understand how it works. To be honest, and that's not the reason why you shouldn't care about it. And a lot of times, what I'm trying to do now is trying to break that for certain segments of the population who you don't really. I'm not even telling you to go out there and vote, but I'm telling you when things are happening, you must understand why they're happening. So Tuesday, election Tuesday, this is the midterm elections. The Republicans did their thing, beat the Democrats in a lot of key areas. Now, it's funny because so a regular person, let's say a casual viewer who, let's say, will be say, oh, they do polls and the Republicans are less popular than Democrats, so why would they defeat them so soundly? Well, there's a few reasons. Midterm elections, Democrats, first of all, tend to be more of a coalition of younger people, more people of color, women, and people in urban areas, to be honest, right? So people in urban areas tend to be focused on concentrated areas. So you might have like New York City, 7 million people, where you might have other areas where it could be bigger than New York and might have 2 million people. But those 2 million people spread out more. It could be different cities. You might have like different rural towns, right? Because you're talking about rural versus urban. So you might have like 100 rural towns for that one city. And in a sense, what happens is that when you look at midterm elections, especially the way it's going down now, it's usually going to favor the Republican base because people of color, you have a hard time getting them to vote, let alone getting them to vote midterm elections. Young people, same thing. Those young people and people of color are more into presidential elections, right? Which is more the casual follower of politics. The person who's a real follower of politics, midterm elections probably excite them more than presidential elections. So right off the bat, the Democratic base wouldn't come out for midterm elections. So largely that's the reason why the Republicans will have an edge. The Republicans also have more rural areas. So where Democrats might get bigger areas, but when you spread it out, instead of one city, you talk about 40 towns, the Republicans have an edge, and that edge will come out more in midterm elections. Another reason, the country's going to shit at the end of the day. So, you're always going to have, when things are going bad, people just like to switch up coats. That's all it really is. And in a sense, it's going to probably be more chaos now, to be honest. When I say chaos, like if you thought nothing got done before, nothing's going to get done now. So then the casual person will say, well, why don't people change this? Because people don't understand how politics work. You understand? Like even when people say, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm a socialist, I'm a capitalist, Not gonna get too much people say they're communists, but let's say you might get that. What does that mean? Like you can even see the way the politicians play people off, where every Republican has to be against climate change. Right? You have climate change. Every Republican has to say, "Oh, I'm a Jesus guy," right? Every Democrat has to pretend to care about minorities, which they don't, right? So you like, wow, it's a script basically, and it's a script. And the reason why the script is run the way it is, the reason why it's written the way it is because people don't understand how people allow themselves to be labeled and don't even understand what the label means. Do you understand what's the difference between socialism and capitalism? Not the punchlines, when you hear a Republican screaming, "This is socialist." No, do you understand the difference? Most people don't. So in a way, this is why the chaos keeps happening, because in the end of the day, when you look at it very carefully, a third party would have to be brought in order to change stuff, and we're not going to really get that for the most part. It's getting so bad, even Tea Party candidates did pretty well yesterday in certain areas. That just shows you the country's confused. Realistically, when you look at this video and you say, well, why should I have paid attention to the elections yesterday? Only to kind of get an understanding what's going on in the subconscious minds of the country. The country's confused at the end of the day. It's a time where people don't really know what's what, and they're just going through the motions. So 2016, 2018, 2020, they're going to go through the motions again. That's just the way the country is right now. It's in a very scary state where people don't really know what's going on and what to do and how to fix the problem. So, in the end of the day, it's up to other people who have the ability to understand things to try to start to understand how they work. I don't expect people to watch this video or my new politics videos and say, "Oh, I want to go vote. I want to care about politics." But many people are here to better themselves, and if you want to better yourself, you must be aware of your surroundings. There's no question about it. So I definitely think understanding how things run helps the beginning of that. So till next time, peace.